Hello guys, welcome back. I am finally getting this video update done to let you know how the last plate removal surgery went. It has been about 6 or 7 weeks now since I had the rest of the metal plates removed from my jaw, and we are going to cover everything that happened back in Spain a few weeks ago with that whole removal process. So you may have seen a previous video a few months ago. I had the plates removed from my lower jaw back in November of 2022. And the reason that I had those removed was because I actually was going to be getting a procedure done in the back of my mouth behind my last molars. And in order to have that procedure done, I had to have those plates and screws removed because the screw was actually right in the way of where they needed to work, and they didn't want to damage it or do any have any potential disruptions there. So at the time, when I had those plates removed, I was not planning on having the rest of them removed, or I would have done it all at once. But then a few other things happened after that led me to make the decision to go back and have the rest of the plates removed as well. I had been learning a little bit more about the potential issues that people can have. I had also had a metal plate in my wrist from when I broke my wrist about 1.5 years ago now, and I was really having problems with that wrist over time. As that plate had been in there longer, it was getting really sore, really uncomfortable, and even though my wrist was really well healed, it felt like it was getting worse. And so I ended up having that plate removed. That was a very easy procedure and a pretty fast recovery. So it was kind of a good test to see, was I really having issues with that plate, and could that potentially mean that I have more sensitivity to these metal implants? So I had the plate removed from my wrist in January of this year, and within a couple of weeks, so many symptoms that I've been having disappeared. I had had a lot of pain and tension all through the left side of my body, particularly in my wrist, but really all the way down my left leg to my left foot. Everything felt just really weirdly tight and kind of twisted. And that all went away and it felt so much better. So that kind of made me reconsider whether I might just have a little bit more of a sensitivity to these plates, and whether I might ultimately want to get the other plates that were in my jaw removed. Once I started thinking about that, I did not have a lot of time to decide, because they really do prefer to remove any of these metal plates within 1 year of your initial jaw surgery. Otherwise, the bone can start to grow over the plates and it just gets harder for them to remove it. So I kind of had to make a quick decision, because it had already been almost 1 year at the time that I was planning this or thinking about it. And I knew that it would still probably be a couple of months before I'd actually be able to get in for the procedure. So ultimately decided that yes, I did want to go ahead and get those plates removed, even if there is some risk involved in just obviously having another surgical procedure. I felt like in the long run, I didn't want to wonder later if I started to have more symptoms that maybe I should have done it and now I couldn't because it had been too long. So I ultimately decided that yes, I did want to have these plates removed, got it on the schedule for May, and then went back to Spain to have my surgeon finish the rest of that process and remove the rest of those plates. About a month or so before I headed back to Spain to have those plates removed, I also started to experience some other kind of weird symptoms, which I think I talked about in a previous video. I started to get a lot of tension kind of through the side of my head around my ears. It just felt like something was squeezing my head, but really, really deep inside there. If I had a massage or did anything to try to help that pain go away, it didn't really work. It didn't feel like it was a muscular thing or some kind of tension that I could relieve by other means. It felt like something, it was just this constant tension, and it would even sometimes keep me up at night because it would just be so uncomfortable. And the only other thing that I could think of was that the plates had been in there for long enough at that point that maybe it was starting to cause some kind of reaction for me, similar to what I had been feeling with my wrist, where it did take 9, 10, 12 months before I started to notice that I was having issues with it. So I was really curious to see if that pain and tension would go away once I had the plates removed. So in May, I headed back to Spain. I I did take several videos while I was there, both right before my surgery and then for the couple of days afterwards, to just document how everything went, what the swelling was like, what the pain was like, and how I was feeling afterwards. And so I will play you those videos and then we will come back and I'll let you know how things are going now that I am almost 2 months out. Good morning. It is Tuesday morning. I'm leaving in about an hour to go to my surgery. Not really nervous yet, but I'm just really looking forward to having it be over. And actually kind of looking forward to the sedation part. So I'm pretty tired still from the jet lag and just kind of glad to have an excuse to rest for a little bit. But I had a couple of pre-op appointments yesterday, they do blood work and an ECG, and then met with a surgeon and just got everything in order. It sounds like the procedure should take maybe 45 minutes. Kind of depends on if bone has grown over the plates and they have to, like, I guess, remove some of that bone to get at the plates or not. So could be a little bit shorter, could be a little bit longer, just depends what happens once they get in there. And yeah, just hoping that it's not too traumatic for my face and we'll be glad when it's done and kind of have to see how bad the swelling is, or if, just kind of how everything feels. But I will try to do another update once I get back if I am coherent or once I feel like I can talk and let you guys know what happened and how everything went. It is now Tuesday evening. My surgery was about 8 hours ago. I just took a shower, but you can really see how swollen I am, especially on this side. A little bit of bruising, definitely pretty sore. I was realizing that after the initial jaw surgery, because they've moved your jaw so much and all the nerves are disrupted, like you're totally numb, so you don't really feel that much pain. It's just really uncomfortable. But that is not the case. It definitely is more pain than I had experienced before, and it's very manageable. I have pain meds and everything, but it just, it's sort of uncomfortable. Kind of feels like I got hit in the face, which I guess in a way I did, but my surgeon was able to get all the plates out, which was good. He was a little worried that some of them might be a bit stuck in there at this point, but he said he got them all out, and I do have them. They let me keep them. So the plates that were on either side of my upper jaw and my chin, and then there were 20 little screws in there too. Kind of seems kind of crazy, but yeah, we'll see how things look tomorrow. I'm guessing the swelling will get a little bit worse tomorrow, maybe even the next day, but it probably will start subsiding after tomorrow. And I go back on Thursday just for a quick checkup before I head home on Friday. So I have a couple days to recover and hopefully get some of the swelling down and pain managed before I fly home. But we will see how things look tomorrow. So it is Wednesday evening now. My surgery was yesterday late morning, so it's been over 24 hours. I'm obviously pretty swollen and a little bruised. I'm pretty sore. I can manage the pain pretty easily, but it just, kind of hurts a bit, and it feels a little stiff and kind of similar to after the first jaw surgery, where with that swelling, everything feels a little bit restricted. And I can't open my mouth very wide. So it's kind of giving me flashbacks to December of 2021 and, maybe being like 2 weeks out from the surgery where you could start to feel things again and kind of move, but it still feels pretty tight, a little bit swollen. So I go back tomorrow just for a quick checkup, make sure that everything looks good, but I'm assuming since I don't have any major problems, it should be pretty fine, and then fly home Friday morning. So we'll see how it looks tomorrow. Sleeping last night was really bad. I was pretty uncomfortable, and I couldn't really lay on either side because it just hurt. It didn't really hurt, but it just was uncomfortable. And So I did not get very much sleep, which obviously doesn't kind of help things, but hopefully I'll be able to sleep a little better tonight. One thing I'm glad about is that like my sinuses, my nose doesn't feel affected or like swollen or stuffy or anything. I was worried that it might be a little bit more like the sinuses might feel a little more affected by everything, but that actually feels fine. I can breathe fine. I obviously don't sound like I did after the first surgery, so that's nice. And pretty sure that this will all subside pretty quickly, and we'll see what they say tomorrow. So it's now Thursday, 2 days after my surgery. When I woke up this morning, it was actually even more swollen than I am now. Like my eyes were almost not totally swollen shut, but they were quite swollen. It was sort of almost a little creepy. Like I felt like I had no peripheral vision. But then I had a quick checkup today and they said everything looks good. So I guess I'm good to go. And the swelling is pretty normal. They weren't concerned at all about that. And still a little bit of bruising too. It's pretty sore. Like it hurts, but it's, it's not worse than it was yesterday. And the swelling is, even though the swelling's a little bit worse, I feel actually a little bit more mobile than I did yesterday. So hopefully by the time I get on the plane tomorrow, maybe it'll be a little better, but I guess I can always just put a mask on to kind of cover up my swollen face. It's been very hard to sleep. I did not get much sleep last night either, just because I can't really lay down on either side. It just is too much pressure on the swollen parts, and it just felt so uncomfortable that I was awake a lot. But hoping that once the swelling goes down a little bit more, or just the pain subsides a little bit more, that will be more comfortable. I also feel like a lot of that tension I was feeling around my ears and through the back of my head, I'm not feeling that right now. Like I'm feeling the achiness or kind of the pain part, but that sort of deep tension I was feeling before, I am not noticing that right now. So I'm hopeful that that means moving forward, that will be gone. We'll just have to see once all the pain goes away and I'm not on pain meds, how that feels. The other thing that's a little bit weird is like my nose is a little bit numb, but it's weird because I can feel it. It'll get like itchy, but then if I like touch it, it's kind of numb. So it's just kind of strange, but I know that's all pretty normal for just 2 days afterwards. And I'm already starting to feel like areas where it was a little bit numb right afterwards are returning. So I don't have any concerns that it's going to like be numb for a long time, or that there's any kind of reason to be worried about that. And I'm just glad now that that should be the last surgery I need to have, and that for me, I just feel better knowing that all the metal is gone, and I'm hoping that in the long run that will be the best option for me, and that there won't be any reason to have side effects from doing this. But I think given that everything seemed to go fine during the surgery and the checkup was good, that I should be pretty good to go. Okay, so obviously at this point, the swelling is gone, at least externally. I do still feel a little bit like if I press right around here, it's a little bit kind of tender, and I can almost like feel a little bit of inflammation still in there. My chin feels pretty fine, like that does not bother me at all. I do also still have a little bit of tension, or like not actually pain, but just like sometimes I feel where the incisions are, it feels like there's some scar tissue forming there. And just like if I'm brushing my teeth, or if like it stretches that area at all, I kind of feel it. More so in these upper ones than down below, where they made the incision in my chin, or kind of below my gums there. But other than that, everything feels pretty good. Like I don't have any residual numbness at this point. I haven't noticed any other problems come up since that surgery, and things feel like they're moving forward right on track. I also did get to keep the plates and screws that they took out. They actually technically told me they are not supposed to give those to me, and that I'm not supposed to tell anybody, but I'm not really sure why. They weren't really sure why either, but I did get to bring them home. So I have now all the metal plates that were in my face on all the little teeny screws. I'll show you a picture. I took a couple pictures, one of just the plates that were removed this last time from the upper jaw and from my chin with a pen to compare size. And then I have another picture of all the plates together. I just thought it was kind of crazy to look at them all and think that all of these used to be in my face. It's amazing that they can do this and put those things in there, and that can like hold your jaw in place and everything. But it's pretty interesting to see them on the outside once they have been removed. Also, like I mentioned in the video, that tension that I had been feeling around kind of the side of my head and the back of my head and really like deep inside around my ears, that has been gone. I'm really glad that that seemed to just go away almost immediately after the surgery, and I've had no issues with that again since then. So I guess, again, whether or not that had to do with those plates, I'll never totally know, but given sort of the before and after, my best guess would be that there was just some kind of irritation that was happening for me from those plates, and now it is gone. Now, I will say that just because I chose to have these plates removed, it's not something where I think like, oh my gosh, everybody should be having these removed. I definitely think there are lots of different sensitivity levels to these things, and I do tend to be much more sensitive to these kind of things that I have noticed over many years of dealing with some chronic health issues. So I definitely am not saying that like this is something everybody needs to do, but I do think it's worth being aware, either if you've had the surgery, if you're getting ready for it, especially, and it's like something that might be on your mind. If you think you might be a more sensitive individual, you can do testing for different metal sensitivities, but also it might just be something to talk with your surgeon or your team about if it's something that you think you would want to do in the future after your surgery. I do kind of wish I had been a little bit more aware of it so that I could have planned this out better and gotten it done a little bit sooner. I was lucky that they were still able to get everything out, but I think it might have been a little bit of an easier procedure if I had done this like 6 months ago rather than after like a year and a half had gone by. So it's just something to think about, again, if you have had this surgery recently or if you are preparing for it. But again, I do think most people end up leaving these in. Vast majority of people, I think only 1% get them removed, but some people are more sensitive to these things. So where do we go from here? I am finally feeling like I'm done with all the surgeries, pretty, done at least with orthodontic stuff for now. Might revisit some things in the future, which I will talk about sometime in another video. A couple things that I am playing around with and just kind of like looking into at this point, but very early stages. So I'll make another video on that at some point if things move forward. But other than that, I'm just happy to have that done, to feel like I can take some time to really recover from that now and let everything settle, see how things are feeling, and not have any more surgeries on the horizon. And I'm just glad that the metal is gone. For me, that felt like the right decision to make. So I'm just happy that that's done and I don't have to think about it or worry about it or wonder if that's something that I need to do. I have it done now and I can just move forward. That's all I've got for today. If you guys have any questions about this latest procedure that I had to remove the plates, or any other questions about jaw surgery, recovery, etc., you can leave questions or comments below. You can also email me. I have my email in the description box below. I'm happy to answer questions or try to help people out if you're getting ready for this surgery or you're post-op and you just have questions, want to ask somebody that's been through it. You can also give this video a thumbs up if you like it, or subscribe below if you want to know when new videos come out. And as always, thank you guys for watching and for following along this journey, and I'll talk to you soon.